August 12th, 2025. Below K2's death zone, the air feels almost normal. A narrow cone of light swings ahead. Scree crunches under boots, and for the first time in 30 hours, relief. Guan Jing has already beaten the bottleneck, danced down the Black Pyramid, and slipped beneath 26,000 feet. This stretch from Camp 1 to Advanced Base Camp is the place climbers call safe. You might unclip for a few steps. You text home. You think about hot tea. Far above, out of sight, something tiny shifts. A rock the size of a bowling ball decides it's done staying put. Each bounce adds speed. Each impact adds threat. By the time it crosses her path, it's moving like a car on a highway, through darkness toward a headlamp. The official line is simple: severe head trauma. Instant. And here's the part no one expects. 1 month earlier, on this same traverse, a local porter died in an avalanche that shouldn't exist here. 2 lives, 1 corridor. What happens when the safe zones aren't safe anymore? She wasn't a trophy hunter buying a summit photo. She was a 37-year-old woman from a small village in Hunan who taught yoga and chased precision for a living. On Everest the year before, she'd done the unthinkable, removed her gloves in -40 and balanced upside down at the top of the world. Not a stunt so much as a statement. Calm, in a place built to erase calm. K2 was only her second big peak above 8,000 meters. In most sports, you don't jump from a straightaway to Monaco on your second race. But mountains don't hand out licenses. They offer windows, and you take them, or you don't. Guides started calling the mountain a shooting gallery. You could hear it at night. The random cracks, the rolling thuds, the quiet seconds after when everyone pretends nothing moved. Big outfits came in, looked up from Camp 1, and left. Madison Mountaineering. Others. The decision said more than any press release. The risk wasn't technical, it was random. And yet some stayed. Imagine Nepal stayed. Ming Maji, who knows this route like a map etched on his palm, read the forecasts, read the rhythm of rockfall, read the hush between gusts that only long seasons teach you to hear. The plan was the only plan you get on bad years. Wait, move fast, don't second-guess rope lines you fixed yourself. They watch the barometer. They watch the mountain the way sailors watch water, less for the whitecaps than for the color just beneath. On August 11th they went, headlamps bobbing into the pitch, breath turning from fog to frost, to nothing at all as the air thinned. She climbed well, smooth, even steps. The kind that save energy not by being slow, but by being exactly the same every time. Past the bottleneck, that narrow hallway at 26,000 feet, with a ceiling that can let go without a sound. Past the Black Pyramid, a leaning stack of steep decisions where tired minds clip to the wrong thing and never unclip again. She touched the summit in the afternoon and barely lingered. Photos, a quiet look into the wind, a turn back toward the line home. Everyone says it because it's always true. The summit is halfway. Up there, the body throws a tantrum, muscles misfire, brains lag. Every mistake costs more because correcting it takes double. But she did the things right. Tested each placement, stayed in the rope, let procedure protect her from what adrenaline can't. They bled altitude. 26 becomes 24, 22, 20. She stepped below the death zone and the world sharpened. Thoughts stopped swimming. Fingers remembered how to be fingers. Camp 1 is where the jokes start again. The stove hisses. Someone mentions noodles. Someone else swears they can smell coffee from Advanced Base Camp, which is impossible, and also true if you've ever craved something enough. Hours slid by. At 10 p.m., they set off, headlamps making islands of the trail. You can feel your life changing on this stretch. It's not steep, not narrow, not busy with anchors and knots. It's walking. You move. You exhale a little too much. That's the trap. Because this ground sits on a pile of small betrayals. Scree that isn't glued together. Blocks that look heavy until you touch them, and they sway like teeth. In a normal year, the snowpack covers some of the looseness and locks the rest. In 2025, the lock was gone. You could walk for an hour and see nothing move, And then a thing 1,000 feet up would choose the exact 10 seconds you were in range. That's not drama. That's how gravity handles coincidence. Picture it, somewhere above, maybe where the afternoon sun hits a darker rib of rock, a seam thaws and contracts one time too many. A stone loses its anchor, it hesitates, because everything hesitates right before it changes, and then it folds to the slope. The first bounce is nothing. The second adds speed. The third shears off a flake that joins the party. The slope steepens into a polished runout. Now it's a projectile, not a rock. She is below, moving well. She has earned the little voice that says, "You're fine." There is nothing to hear. Headlamps make a tunnel, you only see what's inside it. The impact is over before awareness can catch up. The report later is short and clinical. The silence afterward is not. And recovery on K2 is never a straight line. Weather turned argumentative. Helicopters negotiated with wind and visibility and turned back more than once. A ground team went up. One rescuer got hurt and needed to be evacuated himself. This is what remote means in real time. Each step after the worst moment creates its own smaller emergencies. You could file this as one more blunt tragedy in a place known for them, except the mountain had already sent a warning. July 19th, midday. Bright hours, not night. A 4-person team moving along the same corridor. 2 Nepali Sherpas, 2 Pakistani high-altitude porters. Work, not glory, loads, maintenance. The thread work that keeps bigger climbs together. Everyone knows this stretch can spit rocks. Helmets sit low because of it. What you don't expect here is the sound that rolled down, low and growing, the noise of snow breaking free in a place where slabs rarely form. A slab avalanche starts like a sentence you don't finish. A cohesive layer sits on something weaker, and then, somewhere, the connection fails. It doesn't explode, it releases. The block slides, shatters, entrains whatever lies below into a tongue that gathers speed as if it's remembering a path. This one grabbed ice chunks and rocks and churned them into a white-gray flow. 10 seconds of option time, maybe less. Some got clipped, some didn't. Some ran right, some left. 3 lived, 1 didn't. If you want to understand why professionals left the mountain that season, this is enough. An avalanche in the wrong place at the wrong time is a message about rules you thought were fixed. Put the two together, and a pattern appears, not in the mechanism, but in the map. The danger migrated. The classic red zones, Bottleneck Seracs, Black Pyramid pitches, the storm-choked upper mountain, were still terrible. But the season's killers moved into ground climbers mentally color as yellow. The mind hates changing maps. It clings to what you learned last time because it kept you alive. In 2025, that habit turned into exposure. Why? Warmth is the easy answer, and still the right one. Strip out the snow, and you strip out the glue. Thaw permafrost at altitude, and rock becomes a stack of plates instead of a wall. Add heat that rises early, stays late, and cycles fast. And you get expansion and contraction you can feel with your fingertips if you rest a hand on stone before sunrise and afternoon. Water finds seams you didn't know existed. The next freeze lifts them a hair wider. Do that all season, and the hill you thought was a staircase is suddenly a pile of glass. Guides don't abandon a mountain lightly. Money sits in base camp. Pride sits on the route. Clients fly in and build their year around a shot that takes 3 weeks just to reach. Walking away means carrying the word quit around in your own mouth for a while. But randomness erases skill's edge. When the thing that kills you doesn't announce itself, the calculus changes. In 2025, only a small handful topped out. The number itself isn't the point. The ratio is teams with the experience and the rope intel to salvage bad seasons waved off anyway. This isn't an argument for cowardice. It's a reminder that the categories we use, safe, dangerous, technical, straightforward, are weather reports, not laws. On years like this, the safest ground is the ground you're not standing on when the mountain decides to move. That's not practical, but it's honest. The practical part looks smaller and more boring. Leave C1 for ABC in the coldest hours. Keep helmets on, even when you want the relief of air on your forehead. Increase spacing, so one event doesn't hit all of you at once. Stop talking for 1 minute every 10 and listen. Stay clipped where it's reasonable, even on what feels like a trail. None of that makes you invincible. It takes the edge off a roulette wheel. If the rules can be rewritten, then so can the way we read them. What if the hazard briefing starts with the places you relax? What if every plan includes an explicit abort if randomness is high line next to the rope lengths and the fuel? What if outfitters publish thresholds for these corridors, the way Avalanche centers publish danger ratings? And what if clients agree not to argue when the needle points the wrong way?